As the youth, what do we need? One,
An educated youth, first things first, an educated youth needs a job. That is programmed in our minds. I don't know whether it's colonial. I don't know whether it's failure for we Africans failing to liberate ourselves, but that's what we need at the moment. Now, what about a youth from a village who tried to go to a UPE school? And of course, you all know that those UPE schools, let them be USE schools, most of them are non-productive. Really, I would want education, but I don't want to have that education whereby the first student will have a third grade. That is meaningless. That's wastage of public resources. I think maybe the government would look into another progressive matter that can be able to develop this. Now, a person who has not gone to school as a youth, what do you need? We know very well that most of them indulge in agriculture, most of them indulge in bricklaying and all this. Now, I'm happy that the government of today knows what the youth want. In their wisdom, they think the youth need money. And every year, every budget, the government releases money through the Youth Livelihood Fund. If you looked at the Emioga program, at least there was a category for the youth, specifically even the youth leaders. If you look at the parish development model, the youth are taking 30% of that money. So in the wisdom of the government, that's what we need. Now we have to ask, are those measures achievable in nature? And now, if I'm indulging in agriculture, what is the end result of agriculture? The president is crying that we should proceed and outlive ourselves from subsistence farming into commercial farming. But then, as a youth, do I have the market to sell my agricultural products so that I can get money to also improve myself economically? I will give an example. The people who come from Busoga, the sugarcane production was a marvelous and productive industry. But as we speak right now, the people of Busoga are crying because the sugarcane industry is dead. They no longer get the money that they used to. If we go to Buganda here, mostly, and also the Bugishu areas, about coffee. Right now, coffee is no longer a cash crop to be proud about that would bring money. Now, if this people cannot get money, look at vanilla. Vanilla before, I think, around 2018, 2019, people who have tried going into that sector, you understand that vanilla each kilogram was about 320,000 shillings to 350,000 shillings. But as we speak right now, if you go to the areas of Fort Petro and all that, in Buju and Toroko, you will find that a kilogram of vanilla right now is 28,000. As the government addressed its mind on what is the cause of this, does government have a plan? Do they talk about it as to why prices of the prestigious cash crops that we had, why the prices are falling? Because we as a country, Uganda, we are blessed with nature, but the nature is non-productive. We are just living on eating something in a day and we sleep. But I need my son to go to a school where he will get a productive life. But that cannot happen if I don't have money. As you are aware that education, the levels of money in education. You find schools right now paying about 17 million and someone is in a primary school just because it's an international school. Someone says 17 million. You find 2 million and all this. So if you look at what we as the youth, what we are getting, but also now the levels of costs, expenditure that we are undergoing is totally untold. Now, most of our brothers and sisters, they are running to the Arab world to go and find a fortune there. What is done to them is what I cannot tell here. But we cannot even stop them from going to the Arab world. Stopping them, someone would see you as a person who would want to deprive him a chance of earning a living for himself, herself, or for his family. So, really, I don't think that this government has a practical solution to the challenges of the youth. I think they have it in theory. I think the focus and priority of this government is not where the youth want to be. We all know that the focus and priority of this government is overstaying in power. And maybe tomorrow, if they try to do a soul searching, or maybe if tomorrow, if we get a government that is for the people, a government that is not willing to waste taxpayers' money to killing on power, I think they would divert resources they are using to buy human beings into political parties. They will divert the money they give to full figure. They will divert the money they are giving to Kusasira. And I know very well they are soon going to Zex Biranji to buy him because he's a friend of Bobi Wine, and so that he goes and joins the NRM. So they can divert that money and put it into productivity. If they may not put it into productivity, let them at least use that money to reduce on the burden of taxation. It is...
Yes, in a minute?
Yeah, in a minute, what I can say is that if I'm buying soap and if I'm buying soap at 10,000 shillings, and the rationale is that I'm paying taxes to government, it means that if I bought soap, meaning I should get a drug, medical attention at a lesser price or maybe free. If I'm buying a bar of soap at 10,000, it means I should attain a simple or maybe less expensive education or even free. But if I'm buying soap at 10,000 and I'm being overcharged for medical attention and I'm being charged for education, I'm being charged almost on everything. What is government giving me apart from security if I'm not part of politics? The security is only there when you're not part of politics or when you're one of them.
All right.
But if you're not one of them, you're not secure in this country. If you want to prove me wrong or right, you can decide to join the forces of the National Unity Platform. That's when you realize whether you're wrong or whether I'm wrong or right. Thank you very much for your audience.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your submission. Your claims will be answered. I would like to call upon Mr. Junior to take off a few minutes and give us a submission. And before he starts, I would like to remind you that the hashtag you see is the Launchpad debate series. So please, you can go tweet something. If you like a submission that has been given, you can tweet about it. And yes, you can also follow Launchpad. You'll be getting to know when you follow the hashtag. Thank you. You will have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. To the congregation, my name is Ainaman Junior Kenneth, a fourth-year law student, and good member, a passionate Launchpad member. So, I will deliberate.
Can you use the microphone properly?
I will deliberate more about our topic today, but regarding what my brother has given us as the precursor, I think we have more views about the empowerment of the youth regarding what is transpiring currently in our country. We have had several programs starting from 2001, whereby we had first the National Youth Policy, then later we had the Youth Livelihood Fund, and then later we had the Youth Livelihood Program. And we have all seen these scenarios coming to a mess, not because that we ourselves have failed, but because of several circumstances. One of them, it could be either the government was not ready for what they were bringing up, or else we ourselves, the youth, were not ready. And now, we have come with a serious business at hand. The government is giving us a chance to shine again, but we are not embracing it. What should we do at hand for ourselves? So, I call upon every youth. We have several things that we should push on for ourselves, but it is quite a disappointment, Mr. Moderator, whereby you find most of us here, we even don't know where our parishes are, or even our home villages. Like, we cannot allocate them. So most of us have grown from town. We just go to those villages when we are meeting our grandparents. We don't know even our local languages. And it is disturbing, whereby you will find that I, who grow up from my home village, am benefiting from these programs that have been there. But the people that are chasing us and defeating us in these programs when they come over, they are these people that have grown up from town. And for all they are claiming is that we have failed to benefit from the government. My friends, I can assure you we have benefited some of the times. And not that we are not from those villages, but we be there monitoring what the government is providing. So, how should we embrace these projects? One, we can follow ourselves or our grassroots programs. Now, when this thing came in, they implemented something called strategy. I beg if you could correct me somewhere. They called it youth ground levels. So they are strategizing from the ground level. And they were looking for where to start from. Because when the National Youth Policy came in, Youth Livelihood Fund came in, all those projects, the monies that were going to be used were used by the people who were not the youth. You could find someone is 46, he's claiming to be a youth. And because the people who are supposed to be at the ground are not there, so what should we do? We should embrace this period, and we gather that information, and we know where our livelihood of villages come from. Now, the best thing is we can go and encounter with those people at hand, because they are always there, and those programs are always there to help us. But they cannot help us when we are not available to receive the information. So, in regard to our topic, it is empowering the youth to be job creators. You have realized that several times the government is trying to implement something called in every sub-county and in every district we have at least like 3 vocational institutes. And because of our problem, we as the youth, we really feel like the best way to achieve our goals is going to A-level, going to campus, and we get these white-collar jobs. Let's say I myself, I want to be a lawyer, but most of the times we disregard those technical professions. Let's say being an engineer through those craft work periods, being a carpenter through those self-esteem projects. So how will this government regard us job creators when we are all embracing the issue of white-collar jobs? I want to be a lawyer, but I won't be a job creator, because I am also, after my law school, I will join LDC, or else I don't join LDC. But all I'm doing is looking out to people. I'll be entering offices looking for my placement. And it will be a short period whereby I've spent 3 to 5 years looking for a job. Yet I had the realms of reasoning far better than that. And I could, let's say, be like, after my law school, I'm going to start up a certain project. And these projects have been there, let's say pig project, pig rearing, rabbit rearing. And can give a scenario, Mr. Moderator. I have my friend, he's earning from rabbit rearing. Not that he's earning little money, but good money, because he's reaching at a time where he's supplying most of Mbarara region. So we can embrace certain projects because they come in. And the way we can start up, it is not that we need a lot of money, let's say 500 million, no way. We need like little money, 500, 300, we rise through ranks. But all we want, you want me to finish law school, I start riding a Mercedes-Benz, my friend, it won't work. We need to rise through ranks. You can start up a certain project, even when you're still in your law school area, or even when you're still at campus. Because we've seen people who have grown through these ranks, and after their campus, they even want to do their profession. And that is how they have tried to improve the statistics of our economy. Now, currently, we are facing a challenge of price fluctuations, because they are increasing. At a certain time, they low. Later time, they increase, they double the price. Now, yesterday, my friend was quarreling about the hiccups in the prices of the soap. He bought soap, a bar of soap at 9,000. Recently, we used to buy a bus of soap at 3,500. But you realize that it has doubled.
In a minute.
Thank you. We shall not labor ourselves to keep using petty monies, yet we have the brains, and you realize that even our government, I call it our government because it has been on our side most of the times, just that we fail to embrace even the good things they have done for us. Most of the times we fail to upbring our brains to think far better where we can start from. So I really beg you that we appreciate these projects whenever they come in, and we shouldn't loiter around towns. We should go back to our villages and we ask around, how is this thing going to benefit me? How can I benefit? How can I get to this project? Because these are our things, they are not for our parents. You realize, I gave an example whereby in my area, the person that was going to benefit, Mr. Moderator, from the Youth Livelihood Fund was a man who could double my age, around 46 years. So when we brought our issue to the CDO, he turned up and we benefited from this project. So I really think that the best way to benefit from these things is not sitting on our perils, but coming to a consensus. We can create these organizations, these project proposals. Let's say it can be a fishing project, and then we employ people through that project.
All right, thank you very much. That's Mr. Kenneth. He makes his valid points on the positivity theory, and he calls upon us to be positive with the government projects, not to politicize them, not to shun them just because they have probably been initiated by a certain party or anything. But as long as they're government projects, he calls us upon to embrace them. That's his view. That is his personal view. At this particular point, I would like to involve everyone in the audience. What is your personal take on whatever has been submitted? What do you agree or not agree with? If you have any submission, I would love you to come forward and we can start off that discussion with the audience. Any submissions? Submissions? Yes, please. Okay. Okay, we have one here. Please introduce yourself, your class, and then we shall get into your submission.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. My name is Richard Mumbere. I'm in my second year doing law. I am the most junior and passionate launchpad around UCU. Now, today we are talking matters. Today we are talking matters empowering the youth to become job creators. Mr. Moderator, I would love us to address ourselves to the fact that we need to know what the biggest problem the youth are facing today. Now, most of us think that the biggest problem as youth we are facing is poverty. But in my opinion, the biggest problem we are facing as youth is actually ignorance. One, we do not know that we are youth. That is why my brother Kenneth Jr. was here telling you that even someone at the age of 46 is going to consider themselves a youth because they don't know that they're actually past the age of being a youth. And now also, when you look at the population of Uganda, 78% of Uganda's population is actually youthful. And 77% of this population is actually below the age of 24. Now, Mr. Moderator, if we are going to talk about creating jobs for the youth, we need to look at it in a very big perspective. Why do we even have to create jobs for the youth? In the first place, I would think that we are creating jobs for the youth because, one, we are the majority. We are a very receptive part of society. And because we are receptive, we can easily change. But then where is the problem? The problem is actually with the incentivization of helping youth become job creators. Now, take for instance where they're telling youth to engage in agriculture. So they're telling youth to engage in agriculture, but if they are going to advertise something concerning agriculture, most of you are going to bear with me, and if you've seen anything that those books that talk about agriculture, you realize that when you look at those books, you'll not actually be motivated to go into agriculture, because what you see on the face of the book is you're going to see an old lady with wrinkles, and oh my God, they're telling you to go to agriculture. But what you're seeing on the face of on the very first thing of that book, you see very good coffee coming from a lady with wrinkles. Or you will see an old man who cannot even be able to move, but then they are there on that book. So I am saying we need to actually make some of these things look sweet, because at the end of the day, we know that the backbone of Uganda's economy is agriculture. And if we are empowering youth to become job creators, it means we're actually trying to create something bigger for the GDP of Uganda. So if we cannot actually seduce them to go to those things that are going to actually help them become job creators, because they can actually become job creators through agriculture. For instance, if I have a cabbage farm, like I have 3 acres of cabbage, and I am employing about 3,000 people, I have become a job creator who is actually helping other people to get jobs. But then the problem comes in with the advertisement of these very jobs. So another problem we have with us as the youth, one, as my brother again said, we actually have the mentality of the white-collar jobs. Honestly speaking, today, if you told me to go to a technical institute, right now I will tell you that you're mad. In my own opinion, I would say that you're not okay. But yet, actually, that's where jobs are, and that is where we can get jobs. Take, for instance, in Uganda, even if we have construction companies, how many are run by Ugandans, Mr. Moderator? Very few of them are run by Ugandans. And even if there are Ugandans in these innovative companies, say, for instance, we have a builders company that has architects, how many of them are run by Uganda? A few of them. Even if we have Ugandans there, you realize that these Ugandans are not actually in the positions of influence. So at the end of the day, we are becoming job seekers. So what is to be done? We realize that the youth are very, very receptive people, and they are very innovative. We've seen very many youth, for instance, come up with very many things, but they've not been supported. What am I saying? If government wants to actually make us job creators, they need to support our ideas. If we have ideas like, say for instance, I am an engineer, and I want to come up with a microphone. I have a plan to come up with a microphone. The only way I can ever come up with 6 more microphones is if someone is actually going to invest in my idea. But the problem is that there is no investment in my idea. And at the end of the day, I'll come up with it, make research, and write the notes, and they will end there. And it will never come up. So we need to actually make these things look sweet for the youth.
As you conclude in a minute.
Yeah, as I conclude in a minute, I'll just say that if we actually want to help youth to become job creators, we need to actually eradicate this whole thing of them being ignorant about opportunities being there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, I would love to first have a lady. Then we shall go to the gentleman next. Yes, introduce yourself. Give us your submission. You have 5 minutes. Please be informed. I would have to make a request. There for this side, if you could kindly fill up these seats, that would be very nice of you. Yes, and also we are streaming live on YouTube. You can find the link on the Twitter page of Launchpad. Yes, and you can send it to your friends. You can invite them. Yes, those that are far, they can watch online. Those that are here, they can come and join us. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. My name is Susan Omcha, LLB3. Now, on the topic at hand, which we have, empowering the youth to be job creators. Me as a person, I feel the government has already done when it comes to the part of being job creators. For example, we already have Junior Achievement Uganda that has been established in the different schools, different institutions, to actually encourage the youth to take on. But where is the problem, or where are we lacking? So my submission is based on why can't we modify the current programs that are there so that we have a progress in the job creation. We already have the businesses that are going on, but when the government has already sponsored the different business, do they do a follow-up? Do they go back and have auditing for the different businesses that have been put in place? Or they actually empower these people, give them the money, and at the end of the day, they are not being accountable for the money they have been given. So you find a business has been started, but after some time, that business will actually collapse simply because they are not monitoring, and some people have actually used it as a measure of exploiting the people in power. Someone will actually give you the finances, but when you go back, you'll use it for your own family benefits, instead of actually developing the community. So I think it goes back to us, we the people that are actually trying to organize the different, should I call them, society groups, so that we get funds from the different organizations that sponsor us. If they have already sponsored us, are we using that business to actually empower even the other people that are out there? Or we only center on ourselves to have the self-gain? So I think it goes back to us to look at the auditing accountability, even when the businesses have been created. Because I believe the government has already done a lot when it comes to job creation. We already have Junior Achievement Uganda. We already have, let's say, programs like NADS. We have always heard about such programs whereby you find they're giving a certain group of women to go and plant beans, but at the end of a month or after the whole season, do they account for that money? Do they go back and say, if you, let's say, collected 50 million, which other business have you started that is going to support your other 10 friends? So I think the jobs are already there. Now the thing we should actually, the question that we should be answering should be, we already have the jobs at hand, what next? Because, how can we better ourselves to have the jobs that are there be maintained and actually create more?
All right, I would like to ask you one question.
Yes,
What is your take on the idea that you claim the jobs are there, and there are very many? Do you think the youth, if we made a sample here, do you think the youth here know the details of those jobs, or the government has not done its sensitization so well?
Thank you so much. I think that sensitization has actually been done, but it goes back to individuals. Just like they say, ignorance of the law is no defense. I think that information has been availed because we have had all these different groups of, we have different institutions, let's say the different institutions that actually encourage building construction, that encourage hands-on agriculture and so forth. So I think it goes back to an individual, because even when you sensitize them, if someone has not taken it upon themselves to actually implement what you've told them, they'll still not do it. So it goes back to us.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you for that submission.
Thank you.
You have had our views, and if you have any rebuttals, please, you are welcome to give in your contribution as we proceed with the program. I would like to, there was a hand there. Yes, a submission. Yes, you can come forward. Please be reminded that we are on Twitter. The hashtag is a Launchpad debate series. You can put in your contribution. We shall be reading them. You can share with a friend, and you can follow Launchpad, of course. Yes, proceed, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kwatampara Bridger Kamucha, and coming before you to submit about the topic that has been presented to us. Now, starting from 1962, from the days of Obote, the youth have played a big role. And when it also comes to the NRA government, the youth played a very big role to put this government in power. You realize 75% of Uganda's population is composed of the youth. And it is so unfortunate that 82% of the youth in Uganda are unemployed. If you'd see in the job market, the job opportunities that are available. I was listening to my sister, and she was trying to submit that the jobs are already there. That is not true. That is a fallacy. That's a lie. When you check the stats, the job market right now in Uganda annually, we have over 400,000 graduates out of universities, institutions, etc. But then there are only 90,000 jobs which are available for those 400,000 graduates who are out of institutions. So that specifically means that 31,000 students or people who are out of institutions and universities are not employed. So as the youth, what do you do? So one of the things I realized from Uganda is that Uganda is a struggling country and a developing country with a struggling economy. So as a person who's born in Uganda, there are some things you're supposed to put in place. One, as a youth, our education system is not that reliable. It is not something that you should rely on, and the job market itself, I've already talked about it, it is not something that you should consider in your minds. So I would like to encourage our youth, one of the things that they should do is change their mindset. If we can change our mindset, we probably come from primary, go to secondary, then go to university, and after reaching university, we think that after doing the law, after doing the law and LDC and ETC, I'm going to get a farm which is going to be paying me 5 million, which is something that is not true. Our youth should change our mindset on that. And indeed, after university, you should know that the job opportunities, the jobs are not available. You should try out something. You should try to maybe invest in agriculture. Uganda is full of arable land. Land is enough. You can do livestock. You can grow crops and wait until maybe you harvest. So land is there. So I would encourage the youth to change the mindset. And maybe after university, they don't aim, because the expectation is that after university, I'm going to get a job. But the real truth is that, the reality of it is that the job is not there. So what do? Go in and try to make sure that maybe you can invest in agriculture, get some capital, and maybe if you're a lawyer, start up your own farm. If you're a doctor, start up your own clinic, and that is the way to go. Secondly, our education system is poor. I'm not saying it's poor, it has helped us, it has lifted most of us, but as it developed, the other time the Vice Chancellor of Victoria University was talking about the unit cost of the quality education in Uganda. it comes to my understanding that the in-course quality of quality education in Uganda is about 5 million. Quality education is where you have everything. You go for, I don't know what they call them, but you have everything on table. And that one, when we Ugandans have quality education, then we can be able to achieve the dream of having the youth become job creators. Because more practical skills are given in that quality education. But then it is unfortunate that Uganda, we have not achieved that dream of quality education. So, indeed, our education is a bit poor, though it has helped and lifted some of us, but it is not yet up to that extent. I would also encourage the youth to be, in order for us to kill this virus of being job seekers and being unemployed, our youth should be innovative and creative. You know, when you're innovative and creative, there is a man around Barra there who had his own helicopter. I think the government should come up to support such people who are innovative, the young youth who are innovative and creative. Because imagine a person coming up with a helicopter and you're not supporting such a person. We need, if the youth can come up and say that I'm having my own car in place or I'm engineering in this and this, then the government should come up and help such youth than coming up and giving us fish and yet has not given us, what do they call, the hook. You know, it's better you give a person a hook than giving him fish. The Emyoga projects that have been here, the parish development model projects that have been around, that is all giving fish to the youth and to the people. You should instead give them the hook, because when you give me the hook, I'll surely go and collect my own fish. So it is also up to the government right now, because the government should actually look for ways of creating job market for these youth. Maybe in case a youth has started up something, for example, fish farming, or for example, coffee, the government should come up and create market for these people. Because now, if the government does not come up and maybe create market, where are these goods going to be sold? At the end of the day, you find out that even if the money they even give us through those projects, the Emyoga, is not going to help us. Because if we invest it in our agricultural products, coffee, etc., it will just disappear. We'll just eat the money because there is no market. So the government should also always come up and try to create market and maybe help us to develop in that way. Then another thing is that...
Yes, before you proceed to the next, I would like to ask you a question. Are you suggesting, or do you believe that the government does not have confidence in youth innovations?
In new innovations?
Yes, innovations by the youth.
Yes. Now, why I say the government does not have confidence in now, let me give you a recent example of a young man who engineered a helicopter. That man was not supported. He was just left there to die. Actually, he got a helicopter crash in his helicopter. After getting a helicopter crash, the government left him to die, to suffer with his injuries and wounds. It didn't help him. He's right now seated there in Barara, just maybe waiting for the day to end, and that is it. So, more so, the youth should utilize the opportunities that have been brought up by the government. Yes, I somehow disagree that these projects are not as what we want and they don't help us, they just give us fish. But at least if you're a youth and you're out there, you have started up your own business, come and utilize these projects, go and get money, that Emyoga funds, and maybe see how they can help you. That's it. Thank you so much.
All right.
You remain Kwatampara Bridger, Senior Launchpad. Maybe if you want to be like me, you have to go through very many ranks. And thank you so much. Glory be to God.
Yes, thank you very much. Very many pride in being senior launchpadders. I think I should give myself the highest, most seat in senior launch padding, as you would say it. Yes, they would disagree. Yes, well, thank you for that submission. I think personally for me, I think what I've picked is the potential plus support equals independence. Yes, if you have potential and there is availability of support, then in most cases you'll be independent enough to succeed, and I think we'll not have this talk where we're waiting for the government to always input, or having the bad blood with how we think the government is all going about our business as youth. Yes, but that's a good submission. Thank you very much, Bridger. Yes, we shall have a next submission. Yes? All right. Yes. Please come forward. Thank you very much. Please, let's welcome our good president. Yes, we can clap for her as she comes. Please guide on where to sit. Yes, please guide on where to sit. Yes. All right, thank you very much. Yes, you can proceed.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. There is an interesting quote. There is a book, The Islamist, by Ed Hussein, and in that book there is an interesting quote that he states that if you want to change the world, then you must first get an education. The problem that we are facing in Uganda is we have a government that is encouraging the informal sector a lot. Go and dig, go. I want to assure you, you can dig all you want, you can rear cows all you want. If you don't get an education, if we cannot have a systematic flow in the way we work, nothing will change. The reason people have become superpowers is because through education they have been able to do great things. Now, the challenge we have in Uganda is one. We have this saying that there are people who have gotten big things by not reading. But Barack Obama says enthusiasm makes up for a host of deficiencies. Now, Andrew Mwenda stated a very good point at some graduation that those people, why they are successful is simple. He looks at you with a degree, and the first thing that comes to his mind is that you have an advantage over him. That is what he sees. Now, he makes sure he tries as much as he can to compete with you. But now the problem with educated people, they get comfortable. You get comfortable. And of course, it also comes up to what do we study? What do we study? What is our priority? Of course, you can say it is actually, that is a good point. Not, Madam Guild President, not to sound offensive to the institution, but some of the things we study make you question where we are heading as a country, because the people because I want to believe this is a powerful institution that will help in shaping where we go from here as a country. And you're teaching, I will not go to that. I think for purposes of respect to the institution, I will not go there, but education, we need to understand and the biggest problem we have with education in Uganda, education is more of a privilege than a right. Now, the day we understand education should be a right, because this, and excuse my French, but this nonsense that US is and UP is, really, who are you deceiving? Who are you deceiving? That is not education. Let us be honest with ourselves. And actually, the first step we should take as a country is being honest with ourselves. We need to ask the hard questions. Where are we heading? The things we are doing, what will they change? What will they change? This is a fact. USE, people are not concerned. Whether you study, whether you don't, they are paid by government. So the most important thing at the end of the day is the salary for the teacher that is teaching you. So you will never at any one time be able to compete with a person that is in a good school, if I should say, an elite school maybe, or a moderate school. We have many of those. So you can't compete with such a person. But equally, the other problem we have in Uganda is we tend to neglect, I don't know, but the word, I think, the most appropriate word, much as it sounds offensive to certain individuals, but the most appropriate word is elites, because once you're educated, you're elite. Now, we tend to ignore the elites, and as I've said, we concentrate on the informal sector. A lot, we invest all our money. You can bring your emyoga, you can bring your parish development model, you can inspire people. Without education, let me tell you something, where the US developed from, and I've been saying, as a country, we need to look in this direction. Unions, trade unions, labor unions, unions for anything we are doing. A person who, if you have your 5 acres and government empowers you, as it does, and a group of people equally rise up together and get maybe 100 acres of land, and I think land is really abundant in Uganda, you will, and even if they actually don't get a handout from government and get a loan from the bank, they will do much, much better than you. And equally, it goes without saying that these handouts need to be stopped as we need to develop a system, give people a way, show people a way. That is what a leader does. You show people what to do. You don't keep giving them salt because they don't have, show them how to make salt. Don't give them salt. That is how business runs. That is how a country should run. But the things of handouts you're giving people, go and dig. And the thing about...
In a minute.
The thing about free things is once you receive it without sweating for it, you don't get challenged in any way to do something good with it. But if you've worked for something, but as I conclude, my emphasis and the stand we need to take, education needs to be taken seriously. The informal sector will not take this country anywhere. We will never be able to compete with people who are educated. In our digging and grazing cows, we need educated people as a nation. I thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That was an insightful, practical presentation. The man makes his points valid. He calls upon us, all of us, to have a change of direction, be honest with ourselves in these particular matters that we are discussing. And I hope you've picked 1 or 2 things. I hope you can rebut to 1 or 2 things. I hope you can agree to 1 or 2 things. Yes, I thank all of you for coming still. Our guest of honor is just finishing up a meeting with some of the people there and our administration. Then you'll be, yes, coming here. So anytime, expect him. Yes, thank you very much. We had a presentation, yes, yes. Mr. Kansime?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Well, for purposes of record, my name is Isaiah Kansime SJ.
Let's use the microphone and be louder.
Oh, okay. My name is Kansime Moses, a finalist of UCU, and senior Launchpad by default. The topic today is empowering the youth to be job creators. Well, I would like to argue that the government has tried to empower the youth, but we have seen loopholes. You know, when the Emiaga project came up, I was one of the first people to go and register in our parish. But up to date, we are still waiting for verification from the CDOs and whatever. So I don't know, are they really there to empower us, the youth? You know, we come and we see that the people benefiting from this money are the very people who are in charge of distributing the money on the ground. So I think the major issue we have to address first is to first of all counter the vice of corruption and embezzlement of government funds, and then we can say us as the youth can also be empowered. Then secondly, on the issue of the youth, we also have, should I call it like a vice?
Yes,
you know?
you have 2 minutes.
Yeah, we get
Quickly.
these monies, and instead of investing in what we submitted in for beneficiary, like we just end up using it for other things, you know? So I think we need to address various issues. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Yes. Okay, with this, what we are going to follow. When our guest is coming, we shall please rise and then probably give him, a good entrance, a good warm welcome. Yes. Please, I ask that if you have any questions, you can forward them to me. I will be forwarding them for those that will not be able to come forward and ask. But if you're able to come forward and ask, please, it's very fine. It is okay. Yeah, but you can send in so that we can know what he will be answering. We don't want him to go without answering your questions. Yes, thank you very much for coming. We shall have our discussions continue after the presentations. And I would like to invite Mr. Fred Buronda to please take your seat. Yes. Mr. Gavin Mugisha, I think he's escorting our chief guest. He will be here. Yes, so what will follow when we get into the discussion, when our guest comes, we shall have our first speech from the President Launchpad. Then we shall proceed to having our student panel discussions shortly, and we shall have our guild president give us her remarks, and then we shall have our guest of honor come and give us his presentation, his lecture, or whatever you would call it. We shall have your reactions from whatever would have happened, and that will be basically it. We will not take too much of your time, and then we shall have our closing prayers from the willing, whoever will call themselves an angel of God. Yes, we shall be very happy for you to get through with a prayer. I'm reminding you that on Twitter, as you can see, it's hashtag the Launchpad debate series. Our topic is empowering the youth to be job creators, a discussion on youth empowering programs. Yes, so please, you can ask your questions in line with the topic and any slight questions that you would want to get into. I thank you very much for coming. Please tell your friends to also come through. We shall be, someone here has reminded me of our refreshments. Yes, and they will be coming, yes. We shall keep the promise. Yes. Those two ladies that said, do not trust my word. But yes, we shall be having them. Yes, thank you very much for coming. For those that are a little far away, I ask that we come closer. We can occupy the seats in front of you. I don't think it's in good culture to have a seat empty in front of you. So it's very nice if we push it forward. Yes. Thank you very much. Maybe as we wait for our guest, my name, for those that were not here, is Edwin Masingano. I'm a moderator for Launchpad UCU. I'm also a student of law in my final year. You can call it the candidate year. I'm also a poet or a spoken word artist. I'm a published author or published poet. My first book, Omuwala Sanyu, it talks about these different aspects, and it's story poetry. It's amazing. Yes, so we shall also get into those things when the time is there. Yes, I would also like to inform you of the Guild Run, the UCU Guild Run. That is the prestigious run that we have to help our fellow students with tuition issues. Please, we stand as a family. We are together as a family. So we should come together and support each other. We should not see another student getting stranded because of tuition. If you can contribute a little to this guild run, please, you may come through. The tickets will be sold. Any guild officials here that can stand up, and then the people get to know you, guild officials, apart from Madam President. Yes. Yes. You can talk to him. He will avail the tickets to you. Yes, the tickets are 15,000 Ugandan shillings only. Only 15,000 Ugandan shillings. And you will have supported to this great cause. Yes, there is a gentleman there with a bib. Please, you can stand up and you see. That is what you will get. That will be your memory of or souvenir of how you were part of this particular run. So please, come through, support. All right, yes, I wanted clarification from this. You know, people love refreshments so much. It's like we're having class rounds and refreshments were a big deal. Yes, but the bib comes with refreshments. Yes, you get one refreshment alongside the bib, so you will not feel thirsty on that day. You see, you got you covered. Yes, basically it is on 26th of this month, a few days from now. Yes, so please, show cause. Yes, thank you very much for coming. I think we shall, as we wait, we shall get into one slide submission as our guest finishes up with the Vice Chancellor. Yes, submission please. Yes, please. I see. It's okay. It's okay. You can come. Yes, it's okay. All right. Yes, you can come as I address. The motion for those that do not remember, empowering the youth to be job creators, a discussion on youth empowering programs. Yes, so that is our topic of today. Please, you can come and submit. We are ready to listen. Proceed.
Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. My name is Maseruka Edrin, third year law student. I've come here to deliberate on the topic, empowering the youth to be job creators. But then this comes back to the character and nature of the youths that we have today. What do we love to do? What are our dreams as the youth today? What do we want in life? Are we only looking at finishing law school, then land a job in a law firm, or become a judge, find a job in a court, which may not happen? Now, circumstances may not force you as a person to be a hustler, but we need to mentor and make characters in ourselves that are going to force us to create jobs for us and those that are going to come after us. What do I mean?
All right, let's all stand up and welcome our guest of honor. Yes. Right, you can clap for him as he comes. You can clap for him. Yes, you are most welcome. You are most welcome, dear Honorable. You are most welcome, dear Father, the Vice Chancellor. All right, thank you very much. So we shall proceed to the anthems. I will ask that someone can lead us in the anthems.
Let's sing ourselves for the national anthem. O Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future in thy hands. United, free for liberty, together we'll always stand.
Let's get into the UCU anthem. To God be the glory, great things he has done. Thank you very much. You can take your seats. Our guests, you're most welcome. This is Uganda Christian University, and these are our beautiful students. We shall not waste any time. I would like to call upon the President Launchpad to take a minute to greet us.
Our dear Vice Chancellor, our guest of honor, the Honorable Thomas Tayewa, Guild President, Uganda Christian University, the Guild President Emeritus, and the entire August House. Good afternoon. My name is Benjamin Elaku, serving as President, Uganda Christian Launchpad Debate Club, an association that grooms leaders, an association that has worked to ensure that as students, we take part in discussing and having solutions to the problems we have as youth before the time gets bad. Honorable Thomas, you're very much welcome to this wonderful gathering. We are excited, we are exceedingly humbled to have you today, and we hope you enjoy your stay here. That I know is very brief because you have another schedule on. But thank you so much for honoring this, and without wasting any time, I will throw it back to Mr. Moderator. Thank you so much.
Wait, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I will thank you. That's our president for UCU Launchpad Debate Association of UCU. I would like to invite our former guild president to come and give us his remarks and also do his duty to invite the Vice Chancellor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator, and to the entire students. Thank you so much for coming. Our dear Vice Chancellor, the Chief Guest, Honorable Taeba, and the student leaders, recognizing our President, Her Excellency, Madam Rachel Serrada, in the House. Ladies and gentlemen, I won't say much. My role is to welcome our dear Vice Chancellor to come and welcome our chief guest. But we, as Launchpad and student leaders, we decided to bring or invite Honorable Taeba to talk to us, simply because he's a man of our generation and he believes in making sure that he adds value to the youth of this great nation. The first time we met him was at his office when he invited us as student leaders from different universities, and I'd also gone with Madam President. So when we talked to him, he deemed it fit that, why can't I go to the Center of Excellence in the heart of Africa? So that's why here. Let's give him a round of applause. So there are shoes that I cannot put myself in, or I can't try at any time. Allow me to welcome the coolest Vice Chancellor in the center of Africa to come and welcome our dear guest. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome, sir.
Honorable Thomas Taewa, the Government Chief Whip of the Republic of Uganda, Your Excellency, the Guild President, the outgoing Guild President, and the Launchpad team, good afternoon and praise the Lord. It is a joy to host the Chief Whip, who is also my dear brother because we worked together in Makerere University when he served on the University Council. And I can tell you from experience that Honorable Taewa is a man of action. He's a man of action. When you give him an assignment, he does it to perfection. And that's why he's leading the team in Parliament very successfully. So Honorable Taewa, we are very proud of the work that you do for the government and for your leadership. You are, when we look at you, we associate with you because you're a young leader, but at the same time, you have done tremendous work for this country in the period you have been in leadership. And so we look to people like you as role models for these young people, both at UCU and in the communities and in Uganda, to be a source of inspiration to them and to challenge them to be leaders with a difference, both today and when they take up national leadership in this country. So welcome you to UCU, the Center of Excellence in the heart of Africa, and we hope that you'll find your stay enjoyable. Enjoy the atmosphere here. As you have seen, it's very conducive to learning. He has told me that he has students he's sponsoring here, so he's a parent also at UCU. And therefore, it is my joy to invite you to speak to these young people, to inspire them to be leaders, just like you have demonstrated that you can lead and make a difference for this country. You're welcome, Honorable Taewa.
Thank you, my senior brother. Indeed, with whom we've worked closely. And I'm really, really, really glad that you're here. You guys, you have the coolest Vice Chancellor. Since we are social distancing, allow me to remove my mask. But you know, if the pictures go out to my boss that I wasn't putting on a mask, it will be trouble. So you have to pray for me. Prof, before I talk to the students, I just want to make a honest statement. I feel like I'm in America. As you know, I have visited almost all the top institutions in the world. I've been hosted by presidents of institutions like Harvard, Johns Hopkins. I can tell you, it's the same setting and environment. I don't know. Why don't you turn UCU into a tourist attraction? So that, yeah, because sometimes we don't know the beauty in our own country. Between me and you guys, you know, we travel the world. People can just describe a monkey, just one monkey. They describe it in a way you feel like you buy a business class ticket, you travel to Thailand to look at a certain. When you reach zero, wow. But when we have a lot in our country here, so I've started moving around our country, and like they say, Uganda turns kutunyumira. Yakatandika secho. Yes, yakatandika. My first of Jan, I used to be out of the country all the time. This time I went Gora tracking. So all my international friends, when they saw my pictures, I think I'm having groups of over 100 people wanting to come and do Gora tracking because of seeing me doing Gora tracking. So sometimes we have a marvel, but we don't know what we have. I usually hear about UCU. I know when you come here, you pray so hard. And it was about prayer and discipline. But I'm glad I've managed to move around. I used your washrooms across. I think it's better than many hotels I've gone to. And I'm going to demand some of the universities with whom I still have a role, why they can't come and learn from you. So I want to congratulate you, Prof. But above all, congratulate the student community that have kept the environment like this. Even if you brought the best cleaners and budgets billions in maintenance, if the students decided to destroy, you won't be having this scenario. So students, you're the best. So, Prof, I met your student. I met student leaders indeed from the whole country. He paid the courtesy call on me, and we spent an hour in my boardroom, and we really shared a lot. Because I'm a former student leader, sometimes I usually want to speak from my heart. There are times when I'm called. I don't want my secretaries, my assistants. I have a team of 46 people who are supposed to be preparing for me what to speak and all that. But I've written my speech from here. That's why I was turning to check whether it's in line what I'm thinking. Because whenever I'm talking to students, to my very young people, I want to speak from my heart. I don't want someone to write for me what I should speak. I really want to be me. I really want to be me. I don't want to be remote controlled. So what I'm going to speak to you is from my heart. And since it is from my heart, you need to know who Tayewa is. I was born on 10th November 1980 in Mitoma district. We are the Wafuruch Bachiga. My group came. I've seen a Muchiga. I'm Mujiri. I'm Wene Mujiri. So my parents came, my grandparents and parents came to Mitoma in 1955. The Bachiga for whom our chief, the late Ngorogoza, negotiated with the king of Ankore and the king of Bunyoro because we didn't have space in Kabare, in Kigezi. Said create some space for my people. So they gave us part of Queen Elizabeth National Park. And that's how we came in and we are spread all over. My first time to come to Kampala, because your leader said I should share. Now, if we could go really fast. I studied in the village. I grew up in the village with my grandmom for whom we were very, very close. I'm a Catholic, so she took me through a lot because among Catholics, we have several groups. We have Abanyangabo, Abazaveri, all those groups that nurture youth. So I grew up into one of them, and I managed to make it in life. But it was one of the most, for now, when I remember what it was a very difficult life. But at that time, it was the best life ever. Because you cook once a week. You know Bachiga, you just cook your pot of sweet potatoes. You cook your pot of sweet potatoes. Then you keep warming sauce. You cook sauce for around 3 days, you keep warming. And man, you couldn't even get anything to do like food poisoning. You couldn't get any single problem. But nowadays, I just go to a canteen, I eat something, I get food poisoning. So we grew up under a very, very organic life. I think we learned English by Ruchiga, so we don't speak your American English, which you people find cool. Sometimes we don't understand it. So we speak our Ruchiga the way you see Shakasari. That's how we grew up. And that's how I intend to remain for the rest of my life. So I'm a son of a peasant, but I'm no longer a peasant. I'm not a peasant. Because some of you, that's a problem you usually have. You're a son of a peasant, then you remain a peasant. Okay? Even after coming to this great university, you even get a scholarship, but you remain a peasant in each and every way. So I studied in the village, I think from Chigarama Primary School to Chigarama Secondary School O level. We didn't have A level. So I had to come to Ngano for A level. But I was already enterprising at that young age. The biggest income generating activity for our area was making local brew. You could go to squeeze juice for some rich people around, and then for you, they give you you see, English is a very poor language, like our president usually tells us. It's very, very weak. You don't have options. Yeah. Your neighbor can explain to you what ebitochefu is. So you gather all those ones. You also prepare them. They get ripe. You do your own, your own juice, and you do your own tonto and local brew, and you sell. That's how I bought my first long trouser. I came to Kampala in 2001 when I was, and Professor, I've never shared this with him because we would only meet when we were discussing serious stuff. I think now he'll be like, you mean this guy? So I came to Kampala in 2001 when I was going to Makerere to do my course in social sciences. And I remember I reached around the bus park at around 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Number one, the confusion of many cars. And I had fees on me. And you guys, you've not enjoyed life. I just see you're in suits or what. For us, we enjoyed life. You would be putting on 3 trousers. We called it emigomoso. Layers. And how it came about, they used to beat us so much. So you would put on one short, and you ensure you put in maybe peppers, mattress cuts, what? Then you add on another one, then another one. So that when you're beaten, it's not that painful. So then it became a tradition. Now we knew the safest way to hide your money is to put in the first level. Yeah. By the time they reach on third level of the apartment, it's very safe somewhere. So that's how we grew up. I came with my school fees, 450,000, social sciences. They had also added me 200,000, whereby 100,000 was for a hostel, 70,000 was for depositing at Chikumi Chikumi. And Chikumi Chikumi was good. Because at Chikumi Chikumi, when you deposit 70,000, then the first month, you're eating matoke, kaunga, and meat. Then, of course, that time we used to pay for watching Premiership and all that. So you stretch, by around the second month, life has changed. Life has changed. Now you're eating 100 shillings. And how? It was a trick. Of course, you couldn't sustain a girlfriend at that level. So what we could do, Professor, we could eat kaunga for 100 and soup for free. Because it wasn't even soup. You guys, you need to visit Chikumi Chikumi at Makerere. You need to tour. And I think some of these sites we need to maintain, Prof. Because Chikumi Chikumi modeled most of us. If it wasn't for Chikumi Chikumi, I wouldn't manage Kampala. 100 shillings you have lunch, 100 shillings you have dinner. Kaunga of Chikumi and soup for free. But you've eaten meat, you've not eaten beans. You also get a toothpick, you move around. Huh? Hey. If anyone doubts that you've not eaten meat, let them come close. They'll feel the scent of some meat. Yeah. And then you survive. So we survived like that. I finished university. But as I was still telling you, when I came, I reached in the bus park. It was tough. It was late. It was confusing. I had fees, and that was all. My guardian would kill me if I lost that money. So, but I was sharp. You know, when you're in a village, when you want to be sharp, and always tell your people, whenever you have people who talk about Kampala, tell them to listen. For us, we have a man in our village called Yakobo. The man tells you every story that has happened in Ishaka, but he never goes to Ishaka. So he could tap from someone called Levi who used to be in Ishaka every day. So he picks a story, and then tomorrow he's refining it, even telling it better than Levi. So he used to tell us in Kampala, when you're stuck, just go to the police post. They will open for you, and you sleep. See, they even give you part of the prisoner's food. You eat and you go when you're fine. So I moved. When I was stuck, I went to a police station downtown. They opened for me. I slept until morning. The morning they gave me a policeman. He took me up to Makerere. I started my studies. I studied. Now here I am. I have my 3 degrees from the village. And I'm not doing that badly. I don't think my son will need to sleep in a police station for his first time in Kampala. So that's how I reached where I am. Thank you. Then I did my school, I finished. Now, because I've seen your topic, you want me to talk about empowering the youth to be job creators. There is no big empowerment than this. You're educated. You're empowered. You can go anywhere and survive. You're not educated to go and brag in bars how you have a degree. We had a teacher at my school called Chigarama. He was called D Brother. He says D stood for a diploma. He had a diploma in commerce. So D stood for a diploma. So you could go to the local bars and he says, today I'm happy, I want to really ndenda kushenjera. I want to buy some people drink. He says, but I only buy for those ones with a diploma and above. He was the only local with a diploma. So he says, he mentions his name. He says he has a diploma in commerce. He teaches commerce at Chigarama Secondary School. Give me a beer. Anyone else with a diploma also give. So he drinks. He says, no, the problem I came with little money, but I think I should give another round to those ones with diplomas. Give another beer to everyone with a diploma. The problem was, by the end of the night, he would be beaten. Hey, he would be beaten. So you don't get this degree, you don't get this education, this fantastic training. Then you come and ask for empowerment. you're empowered. In fact, you should be helping to empower others. Us who are dealing with the real youth down there who are suffering. Because when I go to the village, no one calls me minister, no one calls me MP. They call me Tom. I grew up with them. Hey, the guy comes. They even come on my window, they knock, Tommy Muka, Bgasheshire Kare. So already morning, you're still sleeping, wake up. When I'm in Kampala, sir, minister, sir, in a village, I'm Tom. And it helps you to understand all those people. So when I finished university, I knew life was going to be difficult. But you see, the moment you understand every situation, there is an opportunity around it. Every situation. Now, imagine, if I can give you just a few examples. Imagine it took an Indian to come and understand that packaged water would make good money. So the man started Renzori, Mr. Somani. He started Renzori. After starting Renzori, other Indians came up. For us, we woke up late. Now, in each and every home, they are packaging water. To the extent that now we no longer take mineral water. What I do, I have bottles, I boil water at home, I pack it. That's what I serve my guests. I cheer it. You have a small machine which makes sparkling water. You have sparkling water, you have still water, and you're okay. Another good example, you check around Sherur Gogo. Okay? Is it called Java House? Around Sherur Gogo. Most of us have gone there. That piece of land was a den of thieves. It was available all the time. It took a Kenyan to pass by and say, but what if someone engages share? And we extend. And I put a restaurant here. And the man is minting billions. Okay? A Somali Kenyan. He had to do that. So, when I finished, I knew it was going to be difficult for me to get a job because I was in opposition, fighting government vehemently. And you know, when you're fighting government, you even think Museveni knows you. Hey, when you're there, you say, it's as if Museveni knows you, knows your parents. So every misfortune you have is Museveni. You know, he's watching you, you apply for a job, you fail to get it here. Museveni called that I shouldn't get a job. So I had that mentality of saying, Museveni is following me. Kumbe the guy, I don't think he even knew there is a certain Tayeba. I sat down, I said, no, I have so much passion for premiership. And I want to go to something which you can, I want you to be attentive. Because me, I don't like these big stories which can confuse you. If I take you now to my investments, to my factories, to my real estate, I will confuse you. I'll be taking you very, very far, where you'll find it's very difficult to do what I'm doing now. So I said, no, I support the premiership so much. I undress. I'm a Man U fan. I knew every day we are going to be playing Arsenal. We would spend around 2 weeks training on how to box. Because we would fight in Ichkumi. We would break roofs, we do what? Man. We would fight. And then I said, no, but someone is benefiting from my passion. Okay? If you have a passion for prayer, someone is benefiting by selling you a Bible. If you have a passion for reciting a rosary, someone is benefiting by manufacturing a rosary and selling it to you. He's enabling you to communicate to God, but he's also benefiting somewhere. If you have a passion for listening to T.D. Jakes, he's making millions, hundreds of millions of dollars via YouTube advertising onto his channel. But he's helping you to understand God, okay? He's doing something positive in your life, but he's also earning a living. So I said, no, someone must be benefiting from me as a person. So what I did, I wrote a proposal. Life was hard. I wrote a proposal for doing premiership fixtures charts. I wish I had someone who was in my generation. In around 2004, 2005, 2006, number one, to get internet was difficult. Smartphones were not many. They were for the rich. So we had to go to internet cafes, and you had to pay to access an internet cafe. Number two, premiership fixtures could only come in newspapers on Friday, so that they give you a program for Saturday. So you'd find you're waiting to get a new vision and peep. You peep. You look at the fixtures. You couldn't take a picture to go around sharing via WhatsApp. There was no WhatsApp. There was nothing. So we moved. I said, what if I do premiership fixtures charts? And I do a proposal to companies. And I do... So let's assume, okay, this is the chart, okay? Here, there are fixtures, and then I put adverts around here, okay? On the side, I'm having adverts. So I did adverts. I did a proposal. I took it to DSTV. Up to now, I became a very good friend to the marketing manager called Peter Mungoma. He reminded me I was putting on a Chitenge shirt and a worn-out shoe. But I had the courage to show him that there is something he's missing. I told him, I said, there is a certain group you're not tapping into, the group of us young people, whom you can easily reach out to. Then you develop packages. Because you see, any business, whenever you see a business, and your business is just on margins, is based on margins, you know that business is not sustainable. A sustainable business is based on volumes, not on margins. It's based on volumes. Otherwise, you can imagine you buying toothpicks or a razor blade at 200 shillings, but someone is a billionaire, is moving a private jet because he sells razor blades. Why? It's volumes. So I convinced them, they agreed, they gave me an advert. I think they gave me an advert of 10 million. They said, if I can, but he said, if you can go and you print. I said, I will print 30,000 charts, A2 size. I put pictures, I make them look beautiful, and we put in saloons, we put in bars, in student hostels everywhere, and they are on a hard paper we pin on the wall. So whenever a student is coming to look at your a fixture, he's also looking at your advert. Because in marketing, there's what we call brand presence. The moment there are brands, they are on advertising because they must remain in your face. Okay? You find, you reach, there are stages. I think there was a stage going this side of Mbarara. They used to call it Kuchakoka. Huh? Kuchakoka. Even 5 years after the signpost of Coke, of Coca-Cola had been removed, the stage remained called Kuchakoka, because you have entered someone's mind deeply. Huh? Deeply. In my village, in soda, we don't have Reham Cola what? Whether it's Reham what, we call it Coca-Cola. Mpa Coca-Cola, and you give Reham, and someone is just enjoying Reham. Because soda is called Coca-Cola. So, I convinced them. I went to my friend Mr. Garuga. At that time, I was a political activist. I went to Major Baramira Ranga. I managed to raise some good money. And I did posters of around like 2.2 million. But I remained with 12 million. Now, from zero, you have 12 million. So, the villager in me resurrects Number one, now I'm going to go and I marry. Two, I can buy a car. You know, the money was so much it confused me. I said, is this my money? Huh? There's a movie called Usofia in London. Has anyone ever watched it? When they told him all this money in a trailer is his. And he said, teacher, just assure me, is it my money? He said, yes. He said, are you sure? He said, he collapsed. So, money, when I was told it was my money, I had my account in Post Bank. Now I upgraded to Stanbic Bank. Yes. And then I went here one day. I withdrew 5,000. I found indeed balance they gave me. I said, you know what? The best is, muno muchibuga warma abayayi banji. So I should go and I withdraw from this Busega side, in Sanji. That side there was a branch. I went, I withdrew 50,000. They gave me and they told me the balance. I said, I'm not safe in Kampala, I need security. I said, I need security. I boarded the next bus, went to the village. Yeah. I needed security. I was insecure. I was too rich to remain in the city with a lot of money. Hey, because they might kill me and they forge a will and take my 12 million. They say you donated so and so. I moved to the village. Reaching the village, I sat down. Now I stabilized. I started going through, reading, reading Warren Buffett, about money, what. Hey, more confusion. So what I decided was, part of this money, I started a newspaper called Sports Digest. So also around more or less the same model, very cheap, but now pushing sports. So I was printing from New Vision. And I also started now a printer business. If there is any business which is easy to do, it's called the printer business. Because you can, we have some lawyers here. It's what we call holding out. You go in someone's design studio, you sit on Kameme, you call it your office. Whenever a person needs, don't call me, don't come to office before calling me. You call me when you're coming. So I'm in Mukono, he says he's coming. I say, no, we are still busy. I jump on a border. 30 minutes, I'm at someone's office. I say, yeah, now I'm at office, come. He comes, he finds me, and I'm in charge. So I started the printing business and all that slowly by slowly. I started several businesses. Now I realized I was losing my money. So I was losing my money in publications. I did also what we used to call a Kampala Digest. A5, small, because my target was you, young people. So A5, small, to put in a pocket. It had all the hangouts in Kampala, all the programs. At Stakeout, Friday, it's DJ Nimrod. Yeah, DJ Nimrod. This one at, So I did like that, and I made some good money. Then I moved on until when I made other businesses. I went South Sudan. I made much better business, and I made it in life to where I am financially. And I usually tell my friends that the money I'm enjoying now is money I made between 2008 and 2011. It's a money I have now. I've been making losses since then, but manageable losses. Okay? Now the biggest problem we have, Ugandans, is our saving culture. We first eat, then we save. You can never grow like that. You first eat and then you save. You can't grow. Imagine you have visitors at home. You expect a visitor, professor is visiting you, and he's late for lunch. Will you first eat as a family, then the balance you keep for professor? No. You're going to be a bad host. The only solution, you first save, and then you eat. And I was telling the NRM leaders, you enter a club. A professor, for us, we still enjoy. Please, me, I'm not yet saved. I get time to enjoy a little. Though I don't drink alcohol, I don't go into that business of dancing until morning as if I have no program, which you people enjoy. You know, some of you have a lot of energy, some of which must be wasted. So you waste it in order to reduce it to manageable levels. You have a lot of adrenaline, so you go waste some of it, you reduce it to manageable levels. So I really, really, really remain focused. So the biggest empowerment you can get is not from government, it's not from a foreigner, it's you personally. Number one, to be trusted. Most of you people, you abuse trust. I have a factory. I chased all Ugandan managers, I brought Indians. Reason being, if I employ you, I pick you, the only thing you first look at is how you can drive a car like mine in 1 year. Number two, you want to go and duplicate my business. Okay? You want to go and duplicate my business. Number three, you want to go, you sell and report on with cash, and then you report that you've sold on credit. Now, the business is small, it's just beginning to grow. You kill it, not knowing you're killing it with me and with yourself. Because if you allowed it to grow, you would grow with the business. If I put you in a business and I'm paying you 1 million, why should it grow? I was paying you 1 million when I was making 100 million. If I grow it to 10 billion, why would I keep you at 1 million? So that's why you're seeing most of us now, the policy is when we are employing you, we give you 300,000, the rest we pay you bonus. Yes. We give you, because I've seen it. I've done every kind of business in this town. I'm one of the number one border owners in Kampala. I own thousands of borders. So I deal with that small, who reports to me weekly. I automate my business wherever you are. I have one whom I gave a border. He was, every day it was parked on a road at 1 p.m. And because we are tracking, we see whenever you track or whenever you park for more than 5 minutes, we get a red alert. We monitor. Okay? So discipline and trust and professor. This is something for which you people in charge of education institutions must work on. Discipline. You have Rugambo. You have Rugambo. Huh? You don't know that business can collapse because of market intelligence. I give you my secrets. Like in sanitizer, I produce sanitizers. I'm sure in this university you might, some of you have used my products. If you've seen a product called Wonders, you go to Sheraton Hotel, Ministry of Internal Affairs, Kampala Hospital, that's one of my products. But you get someone, you give them a job, the next day they want to go and mix in the drums. Okay? Then go duplicate it. One of my managers did that. And he was selling in Barara everywhere. You're killing my brand. And the moment you're killing my brand, I'm employing 280 people at that factory, then you're killing their future. If my factory dies, then I have loans because I don't use my money, I don't have that capacity. I borrow. Everything of mine is in a bank. Okay? Then you kill the business. So trust, to me, the moment we become trustworthy, I wouldn't mind you working from wherever you're working. Whenever, if you see, you go to the Western world, these guys, when they sit, they concentrate. Their level of concentration. You go to office, you're on YouTube. I find internet is slow. Kumbe, most of you are on YouTube. Huh? You're on YouTube. Now there is TikTok. Even my 4-year-old son was telling me TikTok, that he loves TikTok. Please. So discipline. And I have told some of them, Professor, that these days, before I deal with you, even very closely, I just do a 30-minute due diligence on you via social media. Yeah. I put in your lab, what do I see? Puffing shisha, crabbing, surrounded by beer. Beer, you no longer surround beer, it surrounds you. The tables are full, you're many. Okay? And then you expect me to say, no, I can trust this guy and I work with him. Especially like our president. At 2, he can call me. Okay? I have a special line which I can't switch off. So I can't say, I was in a noisy place doing what at 2 a.m. You're a family man, I'm a married man. What am I doing outside at 2 a.m.? Well, sometimes I'm out at 2 a.m. because I'm in meetings. And I'll be able to pick it. I do meetings up to 2, 4 a.m. But trust is very important. And most of the people have been given trust and they've abused it. But then, there are opportunities which you despise. I saw on NBS the other day, a student, I don't know, is he from Mubs? Whom they said he wakes up by 5 a.m., he's in Karere Market, sorting potatoes, Irish potatoes and what. That's where he gets fees from. Now, when I tell you about trust, I want to give you an example, and of which is a small business. Each one of you can do. Because this smartphone you're having, you're carrying potential. You can make a hell of money out of it. I have a boy who used to carry for us our bag when we are shopping in Nakawa market. So one day, I said, Biamudsha, you is carrying, I come here, you have a phone. Why can't I call you? And you deliver food at my home. Huh? He said, boss, I will lose out on clients. I said, no. It will take you around 30 minutes to come to my home. Okay? So, how much do you lose so that I pay it you? He told me. I said, okay, I'll pay it. So he did for me 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Then friends who were asking me, hey, we no longer see you in the market. I told them the truth. I said, I have one trustworthy boy who can deliver food at your home. Shop, look for the best chikoko, look for the best matoke, the best muogo, best kachumbari, and everything, those things making kachumbari, and they deliver to my home. So the boy started delivering. I pay boda, I pay him for his time. Of course, I know Ugandans, I know you. You cheat Miko. If it's not much, like 5%, but you guys, you can even cheat 50% sometimes. You also negotiate your discount. So I connected him. To cut the long story short, unfortunately, he got an accident and he died. But he died when he had 5 motorcycles distributing foods to my network. Just the whole network. Now, I see you people going to learn Dynafarm, that you're running network marketing. The first network is around you. The first network is around you. These girls do not want peer. They want to eat matoke, but they don't want peel. They want to eat very good matoke, well prepared. But man, their hands are, the nails are very delicate. Me, I'm good at peeling, and I do for my wife. She doesn't know, of course, for her. The life she grew up in, she doesn't know how to peel and all that. But I do for her. Whenever I'm traveling, there are countries I go to. When I'm going to Dubai, South Africa, they have bad food. So I carry my food and I cook for myself. So one day I hosted Minister's Rokeris at my apartment in Cape Town. So, and he was shocked when I cooked for him katogo. He said, "You Muchiga, what are you up to? You mean you can go peer?" And said, "But you're enjoying." Yeah, why can't I do it? Obama does it, whoever does it. So it's very, very important to me. You're already empowered. I just wanted to bring it, turn it around, that you're already empowered. You don't, India, 66% of India's economy is based on cottage industries. You're empowered, you can do much. You form groups, form savings groups. You go to Kenya. Most of you have gone to Nairobi, isn't it? All taxis are owned by SACCOs. Student SACCOs, your 10 guys, you only meet for drinking. Save a little. I saw today in, I think, Monta on New Vision, a certain Marwa group has raised 3.5 million for a church. At least they've done something. Marwa group has raised money for a church. 3.5 million out of their drinking spree. So, form groups. Don't work alone. In Kenya, many young people are owning, from small chicken businesses to small cafes to coffee shops. Even in your hostel, you can do a delivery business. There is some young girl I advised to start a business of delivering fruits, preparing and delivering fruits in workers' house. She told me now it has grown into a very huge business. Because you see, like fruits and juice, before I take them, I look at you. How do you look? If you're dirty, if you're having dreadlocks, I cannot take your fruits. Because you're dirty from the onset to me. Yeah, to me, it's a sign of you're a young person, you're having afro so much. And now I start imagining, because I see my wife in her head, she's spraying every day, spraying. At least she's trying to clean. I know us boys, we bathe half London. So will you get time to clean that afro properly? Then will I take your juice? If you can't get time to clean the body properly, will you get time to clean? This brother of mine, for him, he thinks, I know him, this is my son. So the way you present yourself, the way you look, you are either turn on or a turn off in terms of me interacting with you and in terms of dealing with you. And I'm saying this because I know from myself, poor from the village, I couldn't express myself strongly the way most of you could. I didn't have that confidence, but I based on discipline and trust. And I found myself in circles of presidents. I found myself in circles of ministers. When I entered in parliament last term, everyone knew that maybe I had served in parliament for long. I went on the University Council of Makerere. Professor can tell you the struggle to go on the University Council of Makerere. I remember that time, I defeated Mao, I defeated Matembe, but I was a young boy like you. But I was elected, they were not. Reason being, you must connect, people must, there is that aura around you. That believability. I look at you and I see, you're believable. Hey, you're believable. The way you are. But you come to me, you're putting on this balance, the trousers are about 4. Immediately, integrity issues come in. And the moment integrity issues come in, you've lost my trust. I can have you as a client, okay, in my bar, in my restaurant, but I can't have you as my staff. I will design the message around you to immediately for you to be my client, so that I benefit from you, but not to be someone to benefit from me. On government, I've seen you were asking about government. Government, we've been having many programs. We've been having youth livelihood programs. We've been having women empowerment program. We've been having very, very many scattered programs. We have now decided to consolidate all these programs into only two. Number one, Emyoga. Emyoga, we want to give you a chance to interact with like-minded people. If your business is in cereal, we want you to have Emyoga of cereal dealers. If your business you're in carpentry, we want you to meet your fellow people, your fellow young people who are doing carpentry. If your business is in tailoring, we want you to meet so that you interact. You don't do business in isolation. You can never survive in isolation. So a Myoga program, we want to continue with it. We are going to put in a lot of money so you can tap into it. But then, we have consolidated all other monies into the parish development model. The biggest challenge you people have is accessing credit, access to credit services. We have decided that we put 100 million as a government per parish, 100 million every year, and we create a parish circle. Because we found the challenge with youth livelihood program, like in my constituency, when I interviewed the beneficiaries, they could get on around 60% to 50% of what they apply for. The rest, the bosses go cutting. Corruption. The cancer of corruption. The cancer of Njauro. You people, you eat Njauro, you even eat Njauro on yourselves. Huh? Yes, on yourselves. Because, look, if you had 10,000 and your choice is to buy beer so that you forget the problems you have, instead of using it as a seed, okay? Then you're eating Njauro on yourself. Because if you used it as a seed, you never know where it can reach. When I was starting that small business of mine, I only needed money to go in Wandegaya, and I print a proposal. And then I walk around the offices, and we are like a Kampala, all businesses are around in a walkable distance. It's so walkable, you could walk, and then after you pass by Africana, you're always assured there is a workshop at Africana. So around 1 p.m. they are giving lunch. At least you will pose as a journalist and you get a coupon. You have lunch and then you continue on your journey of walking around. Okay? So it was survival. So use that small money as a seed. So we are going to be focusing on youth livelihood program. Not on youth livelihood program, on parish development model to tackle the rural youth, but also skills development. Skills development, and most of you, you're coming from well-to-do families, but you've shunned agriculture. The money paying your fees is from looking after cows. For you would rather die on the streets of Kampala than go to help your parents look after those cows which gave you fees. Okay? You would rather die. And then it's President Uhuru Kenyatta who will come and buy your milk from Kenya, process it, okay, and sell it to you, add in water, and sell it to you times 3 of what you would have sold it yourself if you are dealing in that milk. So businesses don't need to start big. Because you're seeing your colleagues around you spending $1 million in a club, don't fear starting a business of 1 million. You never know it will grow. So we are going to be availing affordable credit to you through various schemes. But also the moment you get organized, you can never fail to get opportunities. We who are in business, if you got organized really, you find sometimes we have money which we can only invest in banks. There are what we call angel investors. I find if you have a very good idea, you give it me. I have a team that will assess it, especially in fintechs and other disruptive ideas. I study it and I find if I invested 10 million, in 20 years I will get 1 billion. I'll give you the money. But you have to be organized. You have to be organized, you have to be focused, and you have to work hard. With those, you can say I was speaking off cuff, so I touched here and there, but especially my focus was on, instead of you waiting to be empowered, you're already empowered, just tap into the potential which you have. I want to thank you with that. I think I can have around 3 questions. Yeah, 3, 4 questions. I've given you more time than, because after finding professor, I can't come and I spend only 30 minutes. So I can have another 10, 15 minutes here.
All right, thank you very much. Let's clap for Honorable. Yes, any questions so far? Any questions? Yes, you can please come forward. Yes, and before they ask the questions, after the questions, we shall have a vote of thanks, and then we shall have the closing prayer. But one thing I've picked is I want to thank the Honorable, because he has spoken to us as a son of the land, a friend of UCU, and as a father. He has given us realistic point of views. One thing I've picked out is the point of passion and pushing yourself. I, for one, Honorable, I'm a poet and a published author, and I've pushed myself and over again, and it has actually worked. My first publication is a book, Omwala Sanyu, and besides everything, I would like to introduce you to poetry, besides away from this. Thank you very much. We shall have our questions, and then we shall proceed to the next program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Government Whip. My question is very simple, that even after the introduction of Emyoga and the PDM, 39% of the youth in Uganda are still outside the money economy. And government has invested a lot in actually preparing the PDM, in training the cows and the accountants. Don't you think that you as government, you need to follow the youth into meaningful production, even if they get this money, so that they can join, the country can be able to join the money economy and attaining a middle income status? Thank you.
Thank you for this gallant opportunity, Mr. Moderator. To our chief guest, the government chief whip. Before you came in, we had a discussion with the students, and some of us were raising issues like, how can we, the youth, and the citizens at large, trust in what the government is bringing to us? Because we've seen several times, on several occasions, certain things have failed, not because that we don't know what has happened, but most of the times when the government is bringing to these technicalities, most of the times they are not ready to deliberate on whom the money or the facilities or the projects are going to. So we would like to know what has been put at hand for us the youth, to benefit from the Emyoga project and the PDM, because by the time we reach our villages, we always find people who are above our age of the youth have already taken up the mantle and have divided themselves into groups, and we cannot access the monies, because when you go to the CDO of our villages or districts, you find that they tell you money is already out. And we always face a challenge on what we can do as at hand, because it is not an offense. You cannot report it sometimes. Even our people that we trust, that we could go to, they are not at our side. So we would like to know what the government has put at hand to elevate those projects. And besides that, some of us are politicians, sir. We would like to know your way to the throne, if you could give us a background of how you elevated there, we would like to know the way there, the other side. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. My name is Bedria Donald Sharp. I'm a fourth-year student doing law. I'll first give a small preamble before my question. So I, myself, and a couple of students, we have a company called PRBIC Limited. We deal in appliances, electrical appliances, and software. So we have been able to have different softwares made. I'll give one example. We have what we call a trace software. This is a centralized reporting system for lost and found items. I will not go into details because any lawyer here knows full disclosure amount can be a defense for infringement. So I won't go into that. But otherwise, we have gone to several MDAs telling them about this technology of ours. Trust me, it can be able to impact this nation. If you look at NIRA, if you look at the police, we have gone to all these places. But when you talk to the ED tells you that I have to communicate to the secretary. The secretary tells you I have to investigate, then implement. So clearly there's bureaucracy. So my point is, first and foremost, I want to use this platform formally, calling upon you to at least have an audience for us so that we can engage you on these various softwares that we have been able to come up with. And then, okay, thank you. So what I find very absurd is that being here in a higher institution of learning, we are educated people, we are organized, the government still goes ahead to prioritize the informal sector. I'm not saying this is bad, so you should not misquote me. But sincerely, not all of us can partake in this. We have also been able to come up and push ourselves forward to harness technology. But you look at the Emioga Fund, which is now, has been diversified into the, which other fund was mentioned? The PDA, sorry about that. But they're all catering for the informal sector, people who are doing agriculture. This is not bad at all. But I'm saying, why can't government realign its priorities? Why can't you also look into people who are not in the informal sector? And this begins with looking into institutions of higher learning. We have here the Launchpad.
Does you conclude?
Imagine if government was, sorry, okay, thank you. Imagine if government would be able to fund a pilot study into such an entity so that they can be able to help in sanitizing public discourse. These people are doing a lot. If they were able to be funded, they go to other institutions, they train, they improve on the civic debate. These are things we should look into. For me, as someone who's into innovation, I kindly seek your indulgence as government. Why don't you look into us as...
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you
very
so
much. The next, you have 30 seconds, please. 30 seconds.
Good afternoon. My name is Edwin Maseruka, third-year law student. I'll be talking about the issue of you may start a business or have an idea, but there is an issue to do with registration of that particular business. You may not even have the money that is required to register that business, in as much as you hustle to find the source of funds and the rest of those things. There's a lot of things that you must do. Most of them take a lot of money. So we pray and ask government to look at that particular part of it.
All right, thank you. Please, no more questions, please. No more questions, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Atao Ali. I have a few questions.
Please choose one.
Okay. I'm some sort of an innovationist as well. And the challenge we are facing from different government officials, because we are trying to reach different offices at different levels, you present to him something and he looks at you and is like, young man, you're too young for this, you can't manage this, or the finance strategy of this whole thing is too big for you. And in the whole process, like you said, we've tried to apply for Emioga and the Youth Livelihood Program funds because it's more of a youth innovative program. And we are limited by that because someone looks at it and is like, this one is way too big for us to handle. How do we go about that?
All right, thank you very much. Yes, please.
Thank
20
you
seconds.
Thank you so much. In 30 seconds, my name is Richard Mumbere, a law student. When Honorable Thomas Taiva was addressing us, he told us that we are already empowered, and he actually talked about the Myoga program. But you realize, even when we get the money from the Myoga program and actually go to try using it, you realize when most people get that money, misuse it. That's because government has not actually put collateral for how these people can pay back this money in case it was misused, as in case they got it. So on that very regard, if I was an innovator, for example, and got that money to develop my own innovation, the only problem would be that I may misuse this money, yet government may not demand for this money. So I would actually ask that you put a policy in as far as collateral is concerned.
Right, thank you very much. And our last question, 20 seconds.
Good evening. Thank you, Honorable. I am a shareholder at Goila Hills Eco Lodge and Goila Valley Lodge in Lushaga, Buchimbiri Sub-County. So it's Buchimbiri constituency that is represented by Honorable Kwizera Eddy. Is it okay if you can recommend us to your friends so that maybe they can come and track the gorillas? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
You've seen one of you is already looking for a business opportunity. Yeah? Yes. I tracked in Rushaga. I was staying at Kateshumba's hotel. That's where I stayed. So, and I was impressed by a Ugandan putting up a hotel where we pay $700 per night. Huh? Because Bazungu came and put up, and people were paying $1,000. So Ugandans could only put on for $100, $200. Limited in thinking. A young man came and put up one, and he says, I also want $700 per night. And we pay. Yeah, we pay, because we have no option. So that's very good. I'll link up with you. I'll be sending you some people who want track. Yeah. So, quickly, I will start with the one of sensitization of young people and the benefit for this program like Myoga and youth livelihood. Youth livelihood program, no, a parish development model program. We are going to, we've decided that we ring fence some of the money. 30% will go to women, 30% will go to youth, 10% people with disabilities, 10% to elderly, and the rest people like Tayewa who don't fall in any of those categories. Okay? How did we design it? We designed it because of the frustrations we were getting from the funds we are creating. So we said, number one, we should reduce on the bureaucracy. Money will be coming from Ministry of Finance straight onto the account of the parish circle. So we've cut off the district, we've cut off the sub-county, which were centers of corruption. Okay? At the parish level, who is in charge of the circle? And who will be in charge of the funds? It's people you elected. Only one person out of 7 was not elected by you. If you didn't participate in the voting, please don't blame me. It is, the committee is chaired by Chairman LC2, who is elected by you. Followed by chairperson youth, chairperson people with disabilities, chairperson women, chairperson of the elderly, chairperson NRM at parish, and the secretary will be the parish chief. Why? We wanted people, and this is to address the issue of collateral, we wanted people who will understand the biggest collateral for parish model will be your character. Your collateral will be your character. There are very many now opportunities available. And I can tell you, whether you have buildings or not, okay? Whether you have buildings or not, if you don't have character, If your character is questionable, you can never get money anywhere. So the number one corato is always character. If you read things fall apart, I don't know who can remind me Okonko's dad. Unoka? I think it was Unoka. The guy didn't love paying at all. He could go borrow here, borrow. He used to borrow from the whole village. So whenever you could reach at his home to demand your money, there's one who reached there early morning. He said, so you mean early morning you have come to demand your money? He said, yes. He says, look at my wall. Each line represents 100 naira. On yours, you have only 3 lines. On Professor Mshenjesi, he has 100 lines. He has never come to my home early morning to demand. Okay? So, what does that show? Character. Instead of paying my money, you're telling me, but so and so is demanding much more from me than you. So we want on parish development model character to play a role. And who knows about your character? It's the people from your area. To be able to assess you and know that even if you don't have corato, you have character to pay. And also, I give you this tip. Character is your number one corato. Character should be your number one virtue. So that when I'm going to deal with you, even a wife, if you can't be a wife of character, I can't marry you. Yes, I can't marry you. So that's very, very important. So we are going to ensure that indeed those groups will ring-fence some money specifically for those groups. Then number 2, we are sensitizing and we are going deep. And one of the gentlemen said that it's money targeting the informal sector. No. In fact, you who is educated, your biggest problem are the uneducated. You who is educated, you can get a job. Other one, if we don't get for him an opportunity, even if you got a job and you made money and you made a factory of soap, if he doesn't have capacity to buy that soap of yours, there are people who, I don't think even Mukwano uses White Star soap. It's made for you. I don't think Mukwano eats cooking oil. It's made for you. For him, his doctor has told him, don't eat cooking oil. So it's made for you. You don't make things for yourself. So you don't, in life, never always think about yourself. Think about people around you. If you put up a storied house, I was in Mumbai, I was staying in Four Seasons Hotel. Now, when I went outside my hotel, and I really, on the Indian Ocean, you just you go on your balcony and you look at what's down. You feel I would have rather gone and stayed in a kafunda. Because your balcony can't be used. What's outside is abominable. The level of poverty and dirt around. So if you cannot empower people around you, and then you think you have empowered yourself, then you'll be isolated. You'll be isolated. I remember the late Rangaranga. He was a minister of UPC, in the UPC government. He told me one thing when I visited him. He said, my son, do you know, every morning I drive from Chitagata to Ishaka? I said, sir, why? He said, I come for 2 things. One, a newspaper. Okay? A newspaper. I want to read the newspaper and know what's going on in the country. He said, 2, to get someone I can discuss with. And this is a former minister. So it means you never empowered your people to be at a level of discussion with you. So you who have families that can be able to bring you to the university, government must take a responsibility of empowering the people in the village so that when you go to the village, you find someone whom you can talk to. So we won't only design programs for you. We will design programs which can even attract you also to go back to the village. If there is cheap money at 6%, at your parish. Maybe you can be enticed to go back to your parish and borrow 1 million and start a business. But we don't segregate. That money can be accessed by all. Myoga is accessed by all. PDM will be accessed by all. Innovators. Yes, I totally agree with you. We must do something. But Uganda, we are now improving. Look, a border young man managed to attract funding for a safe border because he was smart. There is a company called Tugende. Tugende has attracted around 100 billion in funding. But it took a Muzungu to understand that our young people, instead of riding borders for others, they would rather ride borders while paying it own. Okay? I remember when that Muzungu was looking for $50,000 and he couldn't get it. Now he's getting millions of dollars in funding. So even your innovations, like that innovation of lost and found items, sounds really good. It really sounds good. I immediately started asking myself, how will you verify when people start claiming things which are not theirs? Then how will you charge? But it sounds really good. It sounds really good, and I think we should have a chat about it. But as government, we should put more in innovation. But I also urge the universities, Professor, talk to your council. You have a lot of innovative ideas around here. If you can have an innovations fund, and we support you as a government for commercializing most of these innovations, then you as a university, you're going to make a hell of money out of it. When you look at universities like Harvard and Johns Hopkins, they are making a lot of money out of innovations made by students. Made by students, and then you have royalty and revenue sharing mechanism. You find you have, for example, a general room where these high-speed computers can be found with very stable internet and all that, so that these guys can have very good Apple computers. They are able to run their innovations, test them, and you start pitching. And they do it under the university. That's what I propose to Makerere under Mark Holdings. I hope you can take it up. You have more freedom to do most of this. You will end up making good money out of it as a university. So training youth and all that, this is part of the training. And I think I'll get more time, I bring more people, we share with you. How politically, how did I reach where I've reached? Wow. I think I had a stage in life whereby you would needed 5,000 to burn down Kampala, 5,000 people. In 30 minutes to burn down Kampala, I would get them. We had a network. Youth were networked and focused. And we were just reading the literature, and up to when we found some people were trying to use us wrongly. But in whatever we are doing, we were remaining focused, not attacking individuals. We were disciplined. We were not a nuisance to the community. We were engaging at a high level. And we were daring. We were knocking on each and every door. I know there are honorable colleagues who are looking for me. They cannot get me, but you managed to get me. And I'm here. You're daring. I've delayed another meeting by nearly an hour and a half. Because of you. You're daring. You're doing extremely well. You're doing extremely well. Then, you also have to be focused. I looked at my village. It is NRM. I was FDC. My community is purely NRM. But most of the politicians who are coming were people who are coming to earn income. The problem with you youth, you look at politics as a way of earning, other than a way of delivering and sacrificing and contributing to the development of your country. So I decided, I said, no, I'm going to join NRM so that I can help my community to benefit. Because my signature as an MP, I didn't have network in my village. The moment I became an MP, a friend of mine gave me 750 million. We put up a private mast. There's no network company that wanted to come. I put up a mast, I called MTN, Airtel, I said, come and connect for free. At least we have internet. Because the moment you sort out communication, you're doing well. Another friend came, built for me a school 100 million. I took Mama, First Lady, she came. She was shocked where I come from, but it inspired many. Then I focused on identifying a few pillars for my community. And my target has been to have at least 100 doctors, lawyers, engineers. If I can have 100 of them, and they are well empowered, and they come back to the community, then we shall transform it. That's how I have 2 students here. I have 2 raw students here whom I'm paying for. I think they are in year 2, I don't know, year 2 or 1. I think year 2 or 3. They've already moved. One is a captain in Wandinda, in law school. He's a captain in UPDF. And another one is a teacher. Nwandinda comrade. Some of you who are doing law, you'll get to know him. So, you come in, you try to empower, and then you grow. Now, in parliament, when I came, I was known by many. They told me to apply for leadership. I said no. I want first to understand how parliament works. I understood how parliament works. I invested in myself, in my growth. I went to International Center for Parliamentary Studies in London. I did a course in legislative work. I went to Harvard. I did a certificate in negotiation. I'm a certified negotiator. I went back to a SAMI at a time. Negotiation, you know, every day you people, you're in a negotiation. Even me coming here, I negotiated with you. But you don't know. Every day you negotiate. So, me, I'm doing a lot of trainings in negotiation. Because whenever I'm talking to you, I'm negotiating. You're taking my time, so we have to negotiate. So, I stood for deputy speaker. When I came, everyone was shocked. The first time, just 40 years, you've never held a leadership position in parliament. Who are you? I said, who am I? Said, I will just show you. We took it up. It didn't end the way I wanted. I first got annoyed. I remember the president called me 11 times. I refused to speak his number until he called my dad. When he called my dad and my dad in his life, I think when he said this is the president, I'm very, very sure if one checked his pants, the drops started. Because the way he called me, the pressure had gone high. They were checking his pressure. What? How can a president call you? You refuse to speak. So it went to reach personal. And that's when family comes in. Yeah? The sacrifices we make. At that time, because I was insisting, I wasn't treated fairly in State House. So I said, now that you can't treat me fairly in-house, let's go to Kororo. Team Kadaga and Tayebwa takes on Team Oranyandi. So, in between 1 a.m. and 6 a.m., I talked to the president 6 times. But you know what is very, very important? Respect for your leaders. The reason as to why I'm refusing to pick the president's calls is because I knew I can't say no to my president when he tells me, do this. So I would rather hide from him. I can say the phone was in silent, sir. Hey, but I cannot, you people, the president tells me do this and I say no. No. So now the question was, how do we do it? When I talked to him, now the question was no longer me refusing what he wanted me to do, but was, how do we do it? When I went before him and the decision I took colleagues to go and meet him, I didn't demand anything from him. I didn't demand money, yet I had spent over 2 billion in the rest. I didn't demand a position. I just told him, sir, let me play my part. If it's me, Tayewa, who is going to divide NRM, please, sir, forgive me. I'm going to toe the line. I supported him. I supported the party position because the party is bigger than me. I can't start posing around. You know, some of us, the problem with you people, when people cheer you, adrenaline comes up and you think you're very big. You are not. You're very small. Hey, you meet a student looking at a professor. You look like at this professor and you say, you abuse him, that is nothing. And then me, I usually, when student leaders especially are very difficult, I just say, God, it's just 2 years. They're on the street. Hey, and they'll be humbled, looking for recommendations. Huh? And now we shall be on a leveled ground. So, until he called me and he said, I want you to help me. Parliament is totally divided. We are totally divided. I want you to help me bring everyone on table. And that's when we came in. Number one, respect. Number two, knowing you can never have the same ideas. In negotiation, there is what we call ZOPA. ZOPA means zone of possible agreement. So we start from you at the extreme, I'm at the extreme. We keep coming towards the green. This is red, there is green somewhere, always. So you work towards the green. Never work towards polarizing further. Always be positive, work towards coming, to the green area. And he made me a chief whip. I didn't know what a chief whip was. I had to read. I knew a chief whip was to be abused the way you people are abusing Nankabirwa and Rumumba. So I had to read. We ran Westminster system. So I had to watch videos of chief whips in UK Parliament, in South Africa Parliament. I later on learned a few things. But above all, respecting my colleagues, being trustworthy. And whenever you're given an opportunity, knowing that you must give it all. You must give it your all. If I'm going to give you 60-70% of my time, then I would rather not do it. If I'm take up an opportunity, I take it up. If it's to finish you, I must finish you before you finish me. And finally, when you're given an opportunity, can give you maybe the simplest example. Treat an opportunity as if you've been given a task to detonate a bomb. If there is a bomb here, and it's a problem, and it's you who has been called on to detonate it, you have only one chance of getting it right. You people always go for sorry. No, in my word, sorry doesn't work. Yes. I can't bring you in my business, I lose a billion, and then you tell me sorry. It can't. My property will go. A bank, I can't go to a bank, I say, I lost money, and the staff said sorry, so write off this loan. No. So life, once you're given an opportunity, it's like you're given a chance to detonate a bomb. If you know you can't do it, don't touch it. Because the moment you put, your hand on it, you either have it right or it goes with you. It will explode and take you, or you will detonate it properly and you save millions. I thank you. Until next time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, we shall have our good president giving us a vote of thanks, and then we shall go for the picture moment. the picture moment, the Launchpad people will come first, the NRM youth will come next, and then the university at large. Thank you.
Our dear Vice Chancellor, our dear guest speaker, Honorable Taiwa, Mr. President Emeritus, the students fraternity, good evening and praise the Lord. I hope I can be heard. Normally people complain that I don't speak, louder. I can be heard? Oh yeah, thank you. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you.
I was not told whether you people, you're giving me my transport. I used fuel to come here. Huh? Huh? She's here. So since I'm not understanding how you give back my fuel and all that, I think your club, the leaders, I'll put for you 3 million so that it can help the club to organize more engagements. Isn't it? I'll put for you 3 million.
Thank you so much. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, Honorable, for sparing some time to come and speak to us about empowerment. And one thing that has touched my heart is that the first empowerment is one where you market yourself. And Honorable, I'd like to inform you very well that we as the 24th Guild Government of Uganda Christian University, we started an initiative of the Guild Run. It has happened before, but this is our second in kind. And this initiative is based on empowering the students of Uganda Christian University. We have students who do not have all the privileges in life, and sometimes as human beings we face challenges. So this initiative is to supplement on the tuition balances that students have to help them also graduate and do the exams. And we pray and believe that you support us too in this initiative, or perhaps even schedule an appointment with you and tell you more about it and everything. Thank you so much, and thank you students for coming through for the event. Thank you so much, the Launchpadders. I guess you're called Launchpadders? Yeah, Launchpadders? Some vibe, Banange.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much. God bless you. Alpha and Omega.
All right. I'll ask the president of Launchpad, please come forward to receive our gift from, yes, when it comes, please be near, okay?
Yeah, thank you so much, Madam President. Yeah, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Yeah, I pray before Honorable Taiba goes, he has learned that at least from UCU. So let's teach it to him better. Praise the Lord. Yes, to add on what Madam President was saying, Honorable Taiba, we have the initiative. She didn't hit well about it. We have a guild run. So we run, it's a marathon. What comes out is what we give to the students who are lacking school fees. My role here is to thank you and to present a small appreciation from Launchpad and the Guild of UCU. We have a proverb, owawe na kacheno okalya nawe, kachena kahango no okalya no wawe. It's not very big, but I will request the president of Launchpad, former guild president, and the VC. Please, you'll give it to the VC. It's not you, it's the VC to do the honors. Some appreciation, ladies and gentlemen. Guild president, please. Yes, let's do it one more time. Asante sana. Honorable Taiba, words cannot express how much we are grateful. And I pray to also note on this, the time you invited us to your office with the president, these are some of the fruits. And we still have bigger vision. We pray when we invite you to another platform, you will allow to come. Honorable, please allow me show you two people before I say the closing prayer. the young people of this nation still love knowledge and wisdom. I saw a delegation from IUIU, Mr. William, Mr. Julius. Are you around? Please stand up. Yes, he is the Law Society president of IUIU. He is also the Law Society in Uganda. They formed an association and he heads it. I also saw some people from Makerere. My brother, please. Solomon, thank you so much for coming to be here. So allow me say the closing prayer and we say blessing upon Mr. Tayebwa. Yes. Please let's stand up. Let's pray. Father, Lord, we thank you for today. We thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for these young minds that thought of such an idea that want to change this nation at the end of the day. And Lord, in a special way, we thank you for our guest of honor, Honorable Thomas Tayebwa, and the VC for taking off time from their busy schedules to be here. So Lord, we say blessing upon our chief guest. Lord, we pray for his family, we pray for his businesses, we pray for his ambitions. Lord, we pray that years later we shall come back here and he shall be the speaker or the prime minister or the vice president or even the president, Father. We pray that you will open for him doors. He's a young man who loves us, that you will give him the energy, the health, you will keep him strong. And Father, as we depart, the knowledge that he has given us, we pray it does not stop here. We pray we keep on, and one day he shall meet us on planes, in meetings, in board meetings, and we shall tell him that public lecture changed me. I pray with this through Jesus Christ our Lord, and may the grace
Thank you very much. President Launchpad, please. The picture moment, please. The Launchpad people, please proceed first. Then we shall have the rest come in.